Hi, this is Sarah, and I'll be talking about the regeneration of Naples through analyzing the prosody of the city. Our group was inspired by the dark history stored within the urban fabric of Naples, because it is what shapes the city today and is a key factor when considering designing for the city, as it influences how its locals use and feel about the urban spaces. Just by looking back at the history, Naples has always been a vulnerable city, facing crises over time. From eruption of Vesuvius, earthquakes, cholera outbreaks, the bombings in World War II, to the death of thousands of people due to coronavirus today. We try to illustrate this collective memory that is embedded within the city through our collage section. We try to show these through darker colors, darker clouds, and you can see skulls, which represents lives lost. But considering all the tragic events mentioned, the city of Naples is still full of life. The angels hovering over the city and watching it over is portrayed to symbolize the strong belief of the Neapolitans. The underground spaces were used as a place for shelter for both soldiers and civilians, and it helped them get through so many disastrous events over time. For this reason, the tunnels were a symbol of hope. These tunnels kind of inspired me to look into the topic of death because, firstly, they're described as monument in preserving Naples' memories, and for this project, the memorial proposition would do well in representing this idea. So the aim is to preserve, remember, and pay tribute to all the lives lost throughout the history of Naples till today within the underground memorial. The other thing is the perception of death people have within the city and the sense of denial over this topic. And it manifests itself in a lack of architectural and urban identity of the place, both for the disposal of the dead and the rituals associated with remembering them. According to James Stephen Curl, this division of space between the dead and the living has increasingly changed the society's perspective on the topic. Walters Benjamin describes Naples' prosody, a collision of two different worlds in an urban space, in this case, life and death. Architecture can act as a bridge between the living and the dead, and to some extent blur the boundaries. The proposed underground design regenerates the existing tunnel underneath the Piazza del Plebiscito, creating a tangible memorial which functions as a place to commemorate a collective memory and call attention to what is no longer present. Heidegger believes that people have no understanding of the experience and the ontology of death, but this spatial transformation enables people to identify death as an unavoidable part of the city and serves as a reminder of the motivation to live. This underground design has the potential to be used as a memorial for all the people who have lost their life due to corona pandemic, a public cemetery and a museum of immortality representing what shapes the city of Naples, which will result in an improvement of dark tourism over time. I explored this concept more through my experimental model, which looks at the concept of porosity in Naples through connecting the current urban fabric, which has been transferred over the years, to the underground spaces. The strings are representing interconnection of both worlds of life and death and emerging porosity within the city. How I color-coded my model was I used white for the buildings and the ever-changing urban fabric of the city, and the black to show the connection between the upper surface to the lower surface, showing a symbiotic relationship coexisting within the city. Thank you for listening.